Hey guys, it's Matt from Amateur Filmies, and before we get into Sarah's video, we wanted to quickly announce the giveaway winners for our competition. Again, we just wanted to say thank you so much for taking the time to enter. We really do appreciate it, and we love the videos as well. So, just a quick reminder of what the prizes are. We've got 4 Blu-rays up for grabs. We've got Come to Daddy, Color Out of Space, Cujo, and Stephen King's Silver Bullet. So, some really awesome movies that are up for grabs, and let's find out who the winner is. Going classic and just doing the names in a hat. We've got everyone's names in here. Whoever I draw out is going to be the winner. Awesome, we got Mr. Bushman Blue. Congratulations, my friend. So again, congrats to you, Bushman Blue. Thank you again for entering, and of course, thank you to all the other entrants who took the time out of their day to make an entry as well. We really do appreciate it. But yeah, get in contact with us in the comments section. But apart from that, look forward to Sarah's video, which is coming up now.
G'day there, this is Sarah from Amateur Filmies, and today I'll be taking you through another 7 zombie movies that I think you need to see. Now I know what you're thinking, didn't you just do a video on 7 zombie movies? And yes, I did, but I'll tell you what, I am obsessed with zombie movies and I watch them all the time, and I watch new ones that remind me of how great they are. So I just wanted to recommend another 7 to you, if that's okay. So some of these movies that I'm going to be recommending are actually ones that have been recommended to me recently, but there's also some movies that I've been a fan of for a really long time. So I'm going to show you a few of them, and a lot of them are underrated, but a lot of them are very well-known movies that just don't have the attention that I think they deserve. So as I did with the previous video, I'm going to be ranking these movies from least obscure to most obscure, and I'm going to be using IMDb votes to sort of measure that. And I know it's not the most accurate measure of how obscure a movie is, but it's how we like to measure it. So we'll get started. Our first movie has a 6.7 with about 28,000 votes, and that is Fido. Fido is set in a 1950s sort of post-zombie apocalypse world where a lot of the zombies have been subdued and turned into sort of domesticated house pets and housekeepers. Our main protagonist is a boy who forms an unlikely friendship with a zombie named Fido, and he sort of treats him as a pet, but his family aren't too keen on owning a zombie, and so there's a bit of a conflict that arises. So this movie is obviously a horror comedy, but I think what makes it such an effective film is its ability to mix the mundane with the macabre. It's very sort of light-hearted, sort of almost like the pre-Color world in Pleasantville, where everything's sort of, all the acting's hammed up. But obviously when you get down to it, the idea of keeping the undead as pets is actually, you know, a really horrifying concept, and it's really well explored in this film. So number 2 on this list has a rating of 6 with about 21,000 votes, and that is Doghouse. So Doghouse is another horror comedy. It's about a group of friends who go on a little boys' weekend to a small town. And the reason they go to this particular small town is because the women outnumber the men like 20 to 1 or something ridiculous like that. When they arrive in the town, they realise the entire female population have been turned into undead man-eaters. At the beginning of the film, we see that a lot of these men have issues with the women in their life, and then of course they're forced to fight off, you know, hordes of hungry undead women. I did take one issue with this film, and it's the fact that it plays on the trope of women being sort of needy and bitchy and manipulative and, you know, balls and chains. And then obviously, like, I can sort of put that aside and watch it, but a lot of the comedy sort of was based around that idea, and it felt at times a little bit misogynistic. I feel like a lot of those movies that came out around that era sort of played on those tropes a little bit, and obviously I can sort of separate that from the other comedic elements and the fact that it is actually a really decent zombie movie. So number 3 on this list has a 5.8 with about 11,000 votes, and that is Dance of the Dead. I first watched this film when it came out in about 2008, and I was probably like 13, and I remember absolutely loving it and thinking it was the scariest and funniest zombie movie I'd ever seen. Upon rewatching the film as an adult, I realised how much it's a time capsule of 2008 in like the hair and the characters and the way that the horror unfolds, and it was actually really delightful to see. The plot of Dance of the Dead is pretty simple. Our protagonist wants to keep his girlfriend and his classmates safe as zombies close in on his school prom. This film is another horror comedy, but it feels very Romero-esque in the way it plays out, and it is surprisingly brutal. This film also features attempted social commentary on air pollution, but it's very often used as the butt of a joke. Dance of the Dead is definitely the most conventional zombie film on this list, And if you are interested in watching it, currently it's on Australian Prime Video, but obviously I can't speak for any other country, so you might have to investigate that if you are in another country. So number 4 on this list has a 6 with about 10,500 votes, and that is Anna and the Apocalypse. This is definitely the most talked about film of recent times, and I can understand why. It's such a unique take on the zombie genre. For those of you who haven't seen Anna and the Apocalypse, it's a zombie Christmas musical, and it's about a girl and her friends who have to sort of fight through zombies to get to a safe area, and for the main girl, Anna, to find her dad. By watching this film, you can tell it was a passion project, that someone put a lot of heart and soul into it, and it really shows when you watch the musical numbers and how well choreographed and written they are. The film is also surprisingly brutal at times, and it can often feel tonally inconsistent. Another small issue I had with it was that the musical numbers sort of went on a bit too long than I would have liked. But that's my personal opinion. I think that they should have cut them a certain time, but that's my issue that I have with the film. You might love it. If you are interested in watching Anna and the Apocalypse, Second Sight has a brilliant release of it. So number 5 on this list has a rating of 6 with about 3,000 votes, and that is Yummy. So Yummy is a Belgian zombie comedy, and it centers around a girl who goes to a seedy Eastern European hospital to have a breast reduction. Her mother and her dorky boyfriend accompany her, and they begin to see questionable things throughout the hospital. And as she's being prepped for surgery, a zombie outbreak happens, and her dorky, cowardly boyfriend has to sort of protect her and her mum from the onslaught. I was about half an hour into this film before I realised it's actually meant to be a comedy. And I think the disconnect came from the fact that the jokes were very culturally specific. A lot of the jokes from this movie sort of came from people picking on the boyfriend for being cowardly and dorky. And instead of being funny, it just felt very mean. Like there's only so many times you can use someone as a punching bag until it stops being funny. That being said, if you are looking for gore and if you're looking for thrills, this movie is for you. It is absolutely disgusting. Another reason why I highly recommend this film is because it's high stakes. It's not afraid to go where other movies might not go. If you do feel like watching Yummy, it's actually a Shudder original film, so I highly recommend that you get on it. So number 6 on this list has a rating of 5.5 with about 3,000 votes, and that is Blood Quantum. This movie was actually recommended to me by Movie Boss Man on Instagram, so thank you very much for that. This movie is a lot more serious compared to other films on this list, and it's a really good take on the zombie genre. Blood Quantum is about a Native American tribe who are immune to a virus that turns all non-Native Americans into flesh-eating zombies. The film follows a Native American tribe as they build a safe city over the years and they harbour refugees. As with the previous film Yummy, Blood Quantum is a very high-stakes film. The film features some pretty obvious but well-explored commentary on the relationship between Native Americans and non-Native Americans. And I feel like the virus acts as sort of like a metaphor for colonization almost. But I might be reading the movie wrong. If you are interested in watching Blood Quantum, it is a Shudder original, so it should be available in all countries. I saved the best till last. So number 7 has a rating of 6.5 with about 1,000 votes, and that is Zombie for Sale. I only watched this film for the first time a few weeks ago, and it had been highly recommended by a few other YouTubers and a few people on Instagram, and I was definitely not disappointed. It was an amazing film. I'm not gonna lie, at first the movie started off pretty slow. The comedy just wasn't hitting and the movie felt very subdued, but I stuck with it and I'm so glad I did. So the film is focused around a working class Korean family who find a zombie and they use his unique abilities to turn a profit and save their gas station. I was really drawn in by the family dynamic of this film. Obviously it is a zombie comedy, but it had a lot of heart. There was an underlying sort of tone of family and conflict that sort of kept the film going even when the horror elements weren't as strong. That being said, the film builds up to a very, very cathartic and very horrific climax that is so entertaining, and the horror really comes through strong in the second act. This film also references Train to Busan and I believe Max Brooks' Zombie Apocalypse Survival Guide, and it's very self-aware in that way, and I love a good film that's very self-aware. If you are interested in watching Zombie for Sale, Arrow Video have a great release of it. I highly recommend picking it up. That concludes my list. Let me know what you thought of the ones that I'd picked, and also let me know about any zombie movies that you think I haven't seen or any movies that you recommend, even if they're not necessarily like highly rated or regarded, because I love any type of zombie film. Even if it's terrible, I'll still love it. So yeah, definitely shoot me those recommendations. And I just wanted to let you guys know that we are currently in the process of moving from one city to another, and it is a very stressful time, but we do expect to be back in the swing of things very soon. Thanks again for watching, and next time I do a solo list video, I promise it won't be zombie related. Thanks again, we'll see you in the next video.